There is sadness and anger tonight at the spot where Sterling was shot, 3rd and M Streets Northwest. Protesters went there right after the court decision, and our Pete Muntean is there right now live. Pete?
A tough night here for friends of Sterling. They were here only last week to remember his birthday. Tonight, the mood so very different. Protesters say no charges mean no justice.
His parents thought justice was coming. His parents thought justice was coming. They prayed for justice. They prayed for justice.
With their faith shaken, another blow to the friends of Terrance Sterling. Stephen Douglas thought of him like family. He organized this protest.
It's important to be visual and let the city know that we're not accepting of what has taken place today.
Black Lives Matter.
The anger directed at courts and police. Officers watched on from a distance. Protesters shouted their way.
It should have been a ticket, maybe even a night in jail, but death shouldn't have been the life sentence that he had to pay.
Douglas hoped Sterling's shooting would be a watershed moment. Instead, only tears were shed here.
They prayed for justice, Stephen. Stephen, they prayed for justice.
We have to learn how to diffuse situations. There had to be a better way, and this young man should still be alive and being loved on amongst his family, friends, and people who really depended on him.
This protest briefly spilled into New York Avenue. Police had to redirect traffic. No property damage here tonight. Things remained peaceful. Live in Northwest, Pete Muntean, WUSA 9.
There were protests right after Sterling's death, too, largely peaceful. But that wasn't the case in other cities that very same year. July 5th, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Police shot Alton Sterling several times at close range while holding him on the ground. He had a gun in his pocket. It's not clear if he reached for that gun. The next day, St. Anthony, Minnesota, an officer shot and killed Philando Castile while he was in the car with his girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, and her 4-year-old daughter. Reynolds streamed the horrific aftermath on Facebook Live. Castile had told officers that he had a weapon on him. July 18th, North Miami, Florida. Police shot Charles Kinsey. He was a therapist who was taking care of an autistic patient. He was negotiating between police officers and his patient. Before the shooting, Kinsey had laid on the ground with his hands raised, asking officers not to shoot. Kinsey survived. And 10 days after Terrance Sterling was killed, September 20th, Charlotte, North Carolina, police shot Keith Lamont Scott in the parking lot of an apartment complex. Police say Scott had a gun. His family says he did not. Recapping our top story, 3 years to the day after Michael Brown was shot and killed in Ferguson, Missouri, no charges for Brian Traynor, the D.C. police officer who shot and killed Terrance Sterling last year right here in the nation's capital. We've got a lot more reporting on this story for you online and on our WUSA 9 app.